Before we get into today's video, I do want to let you guys know that this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. Good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance in hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Princess Diana story. You guys, if y'all do not know about the royal family and Prince Charles and the Queen and Princess Diana, there is more drama and more tea in there than any other television show that you're going to see. Have you guys watched The Crown? Okay, so on Netflix, they released this series called The Crown that's supposed to be based on all of their lives. However, parts of the royal family have released statements, as well as Princess Diana's brother. I saw an interview that he did, which said that so much of it is not true. So it's basically a story. There are parts that are true, but not the whole thing isn't true. So today I'm going to be telling you guys the story of Princess Diana and where she came from and how she got to where she was up until the day that she passed away. Disclaimer. Before I get into this, I want to say that I am just a regular person telling this story. Couple things. One is there is absolutely no way that I can give you guys every single detail of the story. Please go research it for yourself. The second thing is I don't want to be disrespectful at all to anybody, especially for all of you guys who are under the reign of the Queen and all of that stuff. Like, I don't want to be disrespectful. However, I'm going to put this in my own words and I'm going to tell you guys, like I tell every other story, I'm going to give you guys my opinions, tell y'all what I think, but it is not meant to be any form of disrespect. But yeah, so let's just start at the beginning. So Diana, who was just Diana before she became a princess, was born in 1961 in England. She was born to both of her parents. Now, the thing that I found so interesting about this is forever, most people thought that Diana was just like a commoner. She was just a regular person like me and you and came from just a regular old family, but she was actually born into wealth, major wealth. I mean, she came from a long 500 years worth of bloodline of wealth. When she was born in a 9-bedroom mansion. I mean, back in 1961 too, right? Like, hello. She was raised very posh, as they would say, and she actually had 4 other siblings other than her, although one of her brothers did pass away as an infant, and it was said that her mother was completely distraught and that may have changed her mother then. And I say it like that because her parents really went through it and they ended up splitting up. Allegedly, Diana's mother started, having a relationship or an affair with another man and ended up leaving the family. Like, I don't want to say this in any disrespectful way. There's so many conflicting stories out there, but what I have found the majority of the story is that she left them, and that Diana really struggled with it. She had a problem with it. She had 2 older sisters that were gone away to school, and then she had her younger brother, the one that I told y'all in the beginning did that interview, and I'll leave all of that stuff linked down below so you guys can check it out. But it is said that they started having a custody battle, like her father and her mother. They were going to custody court and stuff, and that when her mother was at the house packing up her belongings to leave to go be with the other guy, that she told Diana, she promised her that she would come back and get her, and that Diana would like wait by the window all the time waiting for her mom to come, and she just didn't come. She did spend time with her mother at other times, but like for the majority of it, it seems that her mom just kind of chose these other relationships over her kids, and it really messed with Diana. Diana's brother actually said that Their father was a loving, caring, warm, welcoming man, but their mother should have never been a mother, that she didn't have any maternal instincts and she just wasn't a mother. He said he didn't want to be disrespectful, but his mom wasn't a mom. Now, their father did remarry to another woman, and Diana could not stand her. They never got along. They had a horrible relationship. And so she grew up in this type of atmosphere. At 14 years old, Diana's grandfather died. Now, when he died, this is when she got the title lady. So she was a Lady Diana, and people around her said that she would go around saying, I'm a lady now. I'm a lady now. So she was Lady Diana, and her father inherited their grandfather's property. And honey, let me tell you what it was. 13,000 acres. Yes, 13,000 acres. And the mansion that they lived in, that they moved into, was 100,000 square feet with 90 bedrooms. Can I get a spot in the back? Like, can I get in a closet? When I was researching this, I was thinking their closets were probably as big as my whole entire house. 100,000 square feet. Now, growing up, Diana did not do very good in school, like as far as academics wise. For whatever reason, she just didn't like it and she struggled with it. However, she did excel in other things like dance and art. Now, when Lady Diana was growing up, she had the biggest crush on Prince Charles. Actually, Prince Charles started dating her older sister, Sarah, at one point. So you can only imagine, right, you guys? Like, your little sister and your big sister she's dating the prince, y'all. Like, the for real prince. Us over here in America, when we were little, we watched Cinderella. We watched stuff like that. No, that was for real over there. That was really the prince, honey. And so she had the biggest crush on him. She thought he was just so handsome. And I mean, he was the prince. She started telling her friends she was going to marry him one day. They're like, yeah, okay, yeah, right. You're going to marry the prince. And she was like, I'm going to marry the prince one day. Friends recall that one time when she was at school, she met him and she came running home saying, I met the prince. She was so super excited about it. And the prince is older than her. He's about 12 years older than her at this point. In 1979, Lady Diana was working two jobs. She was doing ballet, she was doing cookery, but then she was also looking for a job working with children. And all these people gave these interviews, and I will leave those linked down below as well, who said that she was amazing with kids. And as the time goes on, you guys will see that she had a natural ability to just connect with children. She started nannying, and the woman that hired her as a nanny at this time said that she never even checked her resume or anything, because as soon as Diana walked in, she grabbed her, she got down on her knees and got eye level with her child, and her child crawled up in her lap, and Diana was playing with her child's hair and talking to her child like an actual person, and just immediately they had a connection. So she was just that type of person that like kids ran up to her and she could connect with them. At this point, people that knew Lady Diana described her as like shy, but compassionate, kind, very friendly. She was responsible and sensible, somebody that people could really count on. In 1980, when the prince was 30, Lady Diana was 19. They ended up going to this same like event or party together. Well, not together, like they weren't together, but they both attended this event. And Prince Charles was playing polo there. And this is when he started taking a very serious interest in Lady Diana. He started talking to her, and then before you know it, they were like trying to go on dates or, being together, trying to get to know each other. And the media went wild. I mean, photographers were following them, trying to take pictures, trying to blow it up into this thing. And although Lady Diana loved the attention, she was also very shy at the time, and she's 19 years old and she's with the prince and she's got cameras following her around. I can only imagine like what kind of pressure that puts on you, right? You're trying to show your best face to the prince, honey. You're trying to let him know why you need to be the next princess, and you got doggone cameras following you and in your face. But nevertheless, she handled it really, really well. Her father was really happy that she was now dating Prince Charles, the guy that she said she was always told her friends that she was going to marry. And she just basically won over people's hearts everywhere she went. Like the way that she carried herself, how kind she was and gentle, and the way that she would just stop and talk to people was not like anything that anybody had seen from the royal family or people that were affiliated with the royal family. And so therefore people just fell in love with her right off the bat. with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 people. At this point, though, the more that time went on that Diana was dating Charles, it seemed like all they started doing was like hanging out together in groups with his friends. And she just kind of wanted to be alone with them. She wanted her own time with him. She wanted to nurture her relationship with him. But that's just not the way that things went. And the prince basically called the shots. So she started getting really sad. Charles actually even wrote his friend at this point and said that he didn't really know what his intentions were with her. And that might be because Charles was still actually in love with a woman named Camilla that he dated when he was like 21 years old. Now, you guys, if you want me to do a story on Prince Charles and Camilla, you let me know down below. Like this video, share this video, because if you do, you guys, it is insane. Insane. Juicy, juicy stuff. But nevertheless, she had remarried somebody else, and she could never be Prince Charles's wife because she was not a virgin. Okay, well, she wasn't a virgin and she didn't have the status. There's another word for it, but I can't pronounce it, so I'm not going to embarrass myself. But she could not be Prince Charles's wife, so she married somebody else. But nevertheless, he was still seeing her and he was in love with her, but he knew that he had to marry somebody. So now he's looking at Lady Diana, but he was really confused about the situation. However, Lady Diana was head over heels in love with the prince. I mean, this is what she'd always wanted. She loved him. And when he finally proposed to her, she said, yes, yes, oh my God, yes, I love you so much, I love you so much, I love you so much. And he said, yeah, whatever love is. Later on, they would do an interview, which was like, it was an epic interview. And I will leave it linked down below as well, where the couple are asked if they are in love, and Diana is like, yes, of course. And he says again, whatever love is. Like, I cannot imagine. But then again, he probably knew that his side chick was watching that interview. So you guys, we just getting started. At this point, Diana leaves both of her jobs and she moves into Buckingham Palace. They give her like an apartment or whatever there, and they give her a person that's cooking for her, a maid, a bodyguard. Like, she's just living the royal life now. And Charles is gone most of the time. And this is when Diana really knew that something was going on between him and Camilla, because he would be gone for 5 and 6 weeks at a time, and he didn't take her with him, which she wanted. She also felt like they didn't really spend a lot of time together, just them two nurturing the relationship, that he was doing all of his princely duties, which he did need to do. But they were sitting in his study one time, and he was getting ready to leave, and the phone rings. And she knew it was Camilla, and she thought to herself at this point, like, maybe I should just sit in here. Maybe I should just sit here like, what has she got to say? But she decided to be proper and leave the room. And right then and there, she knew that something was really up between Camilla and Prince Charles. When she took him to the airport at that point, she just cried and cried and cried. She was in love with him, and she knew that he was going off spending time with somebody else, and there was nothing that she could do about it. 3 days before the wedding, she actually found, like, she was going through these packages. People would send mail and stuff all the time, and when she opened a package that she was not supposed to open, she found a bracelet that had the initials GF on them, and she had found out that Camilla and Charles had nicknames for each other, like Gladys and Fred or something, GF, and he had a bracelet made for Camilla, and he gave it to her 3 days before their wedding. Now, when she confronted him about it, he said, this was my farewell gift to her, to let her know that, okay, nothing's going to be between us anymore, and I'm marrying you. And as much as she didn't like that and she felt uncomfortable, she accepted it, and she went on and got married. Now, you guys, she marries this man, okay? I want to say it was like 750,000 people viewed this wedding. It was an enormous amount. At that time in history, there had never been that many people like invested. I mean, all over the world invested in watching like one event, like they were watching them get married. And it was beautiful, and everybody loved her, and like, you know, the streets were filled with people. And y'all, as she is walking down the aisle to see her prince, and she's looking at him, and she's like, I love him so much. She looks to the left, and there is Camilla and her son standing there just looking at her, not smiling, not clapping, just looking at her. And like, could you imagine the mistress in there? Ugh. Nevertheless, she gets married and they go off to be on a honeymoon. Now, on the honeymoon, y'all, they're gone for a month. Guess who goes on the honeymoon? The prince and now the princess, right? No. The prince, the princess, the queen, and a couple more people from the royal family, that's his family, and then a bunch of his friends. So even on her honeymoon, she doesn't get to spend time with just her and the prince. It's like the whole entire family. At some point, she did confront Camilla and basically, asked her to leave her husband alone. What had happened was Camilla was like, you've got everything you ever dreamed of. You're beautiful. The public loves you. Everybody loves you. You're married to the prince. What more could you ask for? And she was like, I want my husband. And Camilla just kind of like looked down. Now, the thing is like Prince Charles liked to do things like go ride horses and play polo and stuff. And Princess Diana wasn't really into that. However, Camilla was. So she would always go to these places while he was playing polo and riding horses, and she would ride with him. So she was absolutely the other woman. They would be having royal dinners at the house, and Diana felt like nobody really showed her what to do. I mean, although she came from money, her family was very wealthy. It wasn't a royal setting. They ate dinner. When you go into the kingdom, honey, you got to sit a certain way. You got to put your fork a certain way. Y'all, they would be done kicked me out. Could you imagine? Oh my gosh, they would throw me in the cellar downstairs and lock me up for the rest of eternity. Like the disrespect of just like being myself at the table of the royal family. Anyway, so she was trying her best, but she just always felt out of place. There was even a time where I guess the queen kind of like nudged, one of her other royal family members and was like, look at her. All she does is just sit there and glare. She won't buck up. And then the guy was like, well, maybe it's because everybody else is older at the table. And she was like, well, she bucks up when the prince talks to her. So even the queen just kind of felt like she wasn't good enough to be there, but she didn't know how to act. She felt shy. She felt intimidated. And I don't know, it was all really difficult for her. She became so paranoid at all times about like, every time the prince left, she just knew that he was with Camilla. And whenever they were together, they were never even really together. It was always other people around. And I think the thing that she probably really struggled with is she wanted a real marriage. She wanted like a fairy tale, I'm in love with you marriage. And Prince Charles seemed to kind of just want the duty filled, right? Like he needed to be married. He couldn't marry who he really loved. And so he married Diana, who I'm sure he cared about, but it wasn't the same as it was with Camilla. 1 year after they were married, Prince William was born, and she was so relieved, and so was Prince Charles, that they had their boy. They wanted to have a girl after that, but they were so excited they had their boy. Now they would have an heir to their kingdom. And anytime Princess Diana went anywhere, the crowd cheered. It was even said, and she even said in an interview, that she kind of felt like Prince Charles was becoming jealous of her, because when they would go out, instead of the crowd cheering for him, they would cheer for Diana. And if like one time they went to this like event, and the crowds were full on both sides of the streets. And when he walked to one side of the street, everybody over there's like, oh, die for Diana. And she was on the other side. And imagine how he feels as a prince, like he's over there, like they don't want to see you. They're looking past you to get to Princess Diana. So that was difficult for him, I'm sure, as well. I watched an interview that she did where she said she actually struggled with basically postpartum depression. And I cannot imagine how that felt back then as well, too. And you're in a royal family. I mean, the royal family, they're very poised and put together. They don't show their emotions. They don't talk to the media. Everything is very tight knit in the royal family. Like nobody is out gossiping and selling stories or anything like that. And here she is struggling with postpartum depression. She's not trained. She didn't grow up learning how to drink with her pinky up. And so I don't know, it had to be difficult for her. 2 years after Prince Williams was born, Prince Harry was born. And if you guys want me to touch on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, you guys let me know that down below too. This is so good. This is so juicy. I could make this video right here like 4 hours long, but I'm going to try to keep it moving for you guys. So Prince Harry is born. And to the outside, they looked like the perfect couple. You have got the most beautiful princess of a wife, right? Like everybody loves her. She gets on people's level. She's a humanitarian. She does all of this charity work. You guys, she really changed the game as a princess or as anybody that's in royalty or in the public eye. Back when AIDS was going around and stuff back then, people thought, and I remember this, that if somebody had AIDS and you touched them, that you would get it. I remember thinking you could get it from toilet seats. Any of y'all remember back then? I mean, there was so much misinformation around. Well, she was the first person that literally went on camera and touched a person, shook a person's hand that had HIV or AIDS, and really just kind of showed the public that it was nothing to be afraid of. And that's just the kind of things that she did. She would go and spend her time with like underprivileged children, and she was an amazing person and very, very loved. And the prince, he was gone either hanging out with Camilla or doing his princely duties. Now, I don't want to take too much from the prince. He does have duties. I mean, he is the prince. He has things he has to do. He can't be just sitting up in the castle with his princess all day long with his feet kicked up. Like he has things that he had to do as well. And so there just continued to be like this friction between the princess and the prince. Another interesting thing about Princess Diana is once she had kids, like she was expected to have a full-time nanny raising the kids and doing everything for them, and her not basically being hands-on and her doing other things, but she wanted to be a hands-on mom. She wanted to feed her own kids. She wanted to change their diapers. She wanted to teach them things. And that was very, very different in the royal like kingdom and family than what they had seen before. You know, like typically the woman, the princess or the queen, they have the baby and then they're like, here, okay, you do all this and I'm going to go over here and do this. But she wasn't like that. After 5 years of marriage, the problems got so bad between the princess and the prince that he basically went and moved into a cottage that they owned. And so they were living completely separate lives. She was living in Buckingham Palace with the boys, and he was living in this cottage. His affair with Camilla had been going on for so many years, you guys. She was like, to say a mistress is like, and they say she was a well-kept mistress too. She had everything paid for. I think one time she got into like this car accident and he rushed to her bedside. Like she was she wasn't no side chick, honey. She was like a second wife, basically, just not in the public eye. He did everything for her and took care of her. And so at this point, Princess Diana started to stray too. She got into this relationship and she would be on and off with this army soldier for a while. His name was James Hewitt, and she met him and he became her writing instructor, and she actually fell in love with his family and everything. She would call and talk to his mother. His mother loved her. Like according to him, they fell in love. She never confirmed that they were in love, but he said he was smitten head over heels in love with her. He said everything that everybody else said about her, that she was so kind. Now, they did get into an argument and break up because I think it was like after 3 years of them being together on the side, he was getting sent away to the war because he was an army soldier and she did not want him to go. And he was like, I have to go. I'm going to go. I have to go. And she felt like, again, the man that now she loves, or this guy that she's with, is choosing something else over her. At this point, this is when the rumors started about Diana. They were saying, like in the media, it was speculating that she was unstable. She was mentally unstable. She was, and this is the part that I'm going to give you guys a trigger warning. We're going to talk about EDS and stuff like that. Princess Diana, admittedly, and I will leave this video link down below as well, developed an eating disorder of bulimia. She also said without saying that she was a cutter. She talked about how, like, the inside hurt that she felt, she would hurt herself on the outside. She said on her arms and her legs. She said that the way that the palace kind of talked about it was like she was wasting food, and she, you're just going to go do that, food. Like, they didn't understand it. And I can imagine, because people don't understand it now. They definitely didn't understand it then. And it's absolutely a mental disorder. She said she developed it when she was in the palace, like living there. I think she may have had it for longer. I don't know, but that's what she said. She said she developed it there. So therefore, the queen and them, they all thought she was crazy. They thought she was unstable, mentally unstable. Like, she does these things with, she cuts herself, she hurts herself. It was also rumored that she did try to take her own life a few times, that she was so depressed. And that the only time she really felt whole or happy was when she was either with her kids or when she was doing public service work, where like she was out helping others or like talking to children or talking to the public, but behind closed doors, she was really sad. Now, Princess Diana would have multiple different, over time, relationships with different people. Like the prince and the princess publicly ended up saying that they were separated. And I think that the queen pushed for them to do that. Don't quote me on that, but I think she did, because there were so many rumors going around that he was with Camilla and she was with other guys. And so just to keep things, okay, they said that they were going to stay married for the sake of the children and the kingdom, but they were going to be separated and live separate lives. So Prince Charles stayed with Camilla the whole time. But Princess Diana was looking for love. She was dating different people. And see, where I think Princess Diana messed up was she was looking for like a real marriage, a fairy tale wedding with love and commitment and being, she was madly in love with Prince Charles, and he was never probably in love with her. So there was a whole bunch of drama that happened. She would date different guys. She would get photographed. It would be in like the magazines and the newspapers. And I could only imagine how the queen felt. Now, a lot of people feel different ways about the queen, okay? They feel like she's cold. They feel like she doesn't care. She didn't care about Princess Diana or, whatever. And like just about any time now, if you see a picture of the Queen Elizabeth in the media, you get like a scowl and you think like whatever. But when you really think about her, I mean, she has been doing this queen business for almost 70 years. Okay. She was born into this life. She has got to run. Do you know, she is the queen over Canada. She is the queen over the Bahamas. Did y'all know that? She is the queen over so many different countries or continents or lands or whatever. Like, she is a boss, okay? She's got to keep it together. And in order for her to run a kingdoms, she has to keep it together. So I kind of get where she's coming from as a queen. She's got to be like that. And she will be 95 next month. She became the queen at just 27 years old. Can you guys imagine, y'all that are 27 years old out there, becoming the queen? I mean, that is a huge responsibility. And back when she became queen, there was no like internet and TV and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, people are taking pictures and stuff, and there was like the newspapers, but now things are blasted everywhere. And now she's got this son who's in this affair, and this daughter-in-law who's in these multiple affairs. Like, she was probably losing her mind behind the scenes, but always kept it together. And that's why people thought she was cold, but she's the queen. At this point, the country kind of started becoming divided. Either you were for Prince Charles or you were for Princess Diana. Now, Prince Charles is being labeled like the cold, like adulterous, husband that neglected his wife and all of his stuff. And you've got Princess Diana being labeled as like mentally unstable, maybe even attention seeking. And, now she's having these affairs. And so it was causing havoc everywhere. Rumors started going around that she had borderline personality disorder. People that were very close to her with friends said, no way, there's no way that she had borderline personality disorder, which, by the way, if you have it, there's no shame in it. But, nevertheless, back then, that's what they were claiming that she had. But people were saying there's no way that she has this. People in the that were in the palace and stuff like that, I think the reason why they thought it is because they were so used to people being so robotic, right? And royal acting. And then now you have this woman who has like real emotions, real feelings, and expresses her feelings. And like everybody in the palace is like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. Like she's got to have something. Something's wrong with her. Look at her. She's crying again. She's crying. What's wrong with her? So at this point, the divorce was inevitable. Even the queen was like, okay, y'all have to get a divorce. She wanted to be broken apart from Princess Diana. I guess she felt like she could just handle her one problem, which was her son, the prince. And so they ended up getting a divorce, and it was super bitter. It was gossip everywhere. And Prince Charles wanted to allow her to keep her title as the princess, but the queen said no. He was like, just let her keep her title so she can be Princess Diana. But the queen snatched the title from her and all of the perks that comes with being a princess. A lot of people were mad at the queen about that too as well, and said that like that was cold. She shouldn't have done that. And I get it, but I also get at the same time that what if Princess Diana like did something, you know, under the label of princess, and it affects the whole kingdom. So that's also why I say like Queen Elizabeth is a boss. She's a businesswoman. She's not here for your shenanigans, honey. She's not here for your emotions. She's got a kingdom to run and she don't care. And I'm like, oh, she scares me a little bit. And in August of 1997, this is when everything changed forever. The night that Princess Diana died, she was dating this other guy. His name was Dodi. And they had went out on this date and they were like hanging out, and she actually wanted to leave that day, but it is said that he begged her and talked her into staying. But paparazzi was following them so bad. Paparazzi was trying to get, what they called it, photographers, but same thing. Paparazzi, in my personal opinion, was following them, and she was so upset. She was crying, and he ended up taking her to the Ritz where his father owned this restaurant, and they snuck her in the back and they had a nice dinner, and she was feeling a little bit better, but paparazzi was everywhere. They were just trying to snap these pictures. And so when they were done with dinner, they sneak out the back door. They get on the road. They got the driver that's driving, and then Dodi, the bodyguard, and her in the car, and paparazzi is chasing them, and they go through this tunnel and they hit a brick barricade, and Dodi, the guy that she's dating at this time, as well as the driver, who turned out to be intoxicated. I guess while they were eating dinner or whatever, he was up at the bar drinking. He had a blood alcohol level of like a 0.24 something, like over 3 times the legal limit, driving the princess around and in a high-speed chase trying to get away from the paparazzi. Those two died immediately on impact. The bodyguard survived, and then Diana was breathing at first, but once they got her to the hospital, she did not make it, and she passed away. And this is when all heck broke loose, okay? Like, people were mourning all over the world. I mean, America loved her. People loved her all over. And now she was gone. And Prince Charles it was said that he was very, very upset, that he was doing everything he can. I mean, that is the mother of his children. I mean, he's got boys with her. And it was a lot. Everybody was crying everywhere you go. And it was just complete devastation that she had, been killed in this car accident. From that became many conspiracy theories. Many people thought, the queen had her killed, or the guy that she was with, or the bodyguard. I mean, there were so many different like conspiracies and rumors that went around about exactly how she died. And it was just devastating. It was so sad. But when they did her funeral, millions of people came out. The public was actually really mad at the queen because typically they fly the flag half-mast when somebody from the royal family loses their life or passes away. And she didn't do that. She was trying to just sit up in there, honey, and and the people were mad at her. So she had to they're going to either bust into this castle at some point and take me out. Let me get this flag up. No, I don't know if that's what she said, but she did fly the flag, and she did make an appearance at the funeral. And then she released this statement.
What I say to you now, as your queen and as a grandmother, I say from my heart. First, I want to pay tribute to Diana myself. She was an exceptional and gifted human being. In good times and bad, she never lost her capacity to smile and laugh, nor to inspire others with her warmth and kindness. I admired and respected her for her energy and commitment to others, and especially for her devotion to her 2 boys.
And then people were okay with it. They were like, she wasn't their favorite person at the moment, but they were okay. And her sons, of course, were devastated and so sad. They were older too, so it's not like they were little babies when their mom passed away. And yeah, that is the story of Princess Diana. Now, real quick, if you guys want me to do video on this, let me know. But do you know that he stayed with that mistress, Prince Charles did, and he ended up he married her. He married the mistress of decades, you guys. And when the queen dies, she may be the queen. Like literally, I can't. I don't want to take away from Princess Diana's story, but it is heavy. So let me know if you guys want to hear it. What do y'all think? What do you think about the story? Do you think that it really ended in the way that I just said? Or do you think that there was foul play involved, that there was more to the story? There's tons of different versions out there. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, my loves, please do not forget to like this video. It's a free way that you can help your girl out. And until next time, I love you guys so very much. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye. Love you guys. Bye.
We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust.